We are going to make our stuffing. I actually make a sausage stuffing. We're gonna start out with the Jimmy Dean's the Sage stuffing. You can do a different brand. I typically do Niece's sausage. They have an extra sage that I normally do. Unfortunately, they did not have it, but Jimmy Dean is fine. If you don't like extra sage, you don't have to use that one. But for me, that is what I like when I'm making stuffing. So I've got a 6-quart pot here. I'm just gonna go ahead and brown my sausage for the stuffing to get started. Okay, so right now I've got the heat on medium high. Again, I'm going to brown my sausage for my sausage stuffing. And this is a 6-quart pot. I'm gonna break that up. I'm using a wooden spatula to break that up. You may be like, why is she browning the sausage in this big pot? The reason I'm doing that is because we're gonna do our stuffing in this pot. And because of how large it will be with all the breadcrumbs, it needs room to move around. So instead of wasting pots and getting a pan out to brown the sausage, I just find it easier to do it in a capacity that can complete the recipe to save myself some dishes. So we're gonna let that brown and we're gonna come back and finish the recipe. Alright, so this guy is starting to brown some. In order to not touch the raw meat, I like to take a fork against my spatula to get that excess meat off while we were breaking it up to make sure all of the meat gets cooked. And again, you want to make sure that your meat is done. We don't want anyone to get sick. Of course, this is going to go in the oven after it's all mixed together, but to be safe, let's go ahead and make sure the meat is completely brown. You can see my little sous chef in the background. Someone did not want to take a long nap today, so he will be making some cameo appearances. And again, I have this on medium high to get it to go ahead and brown. John Aaron's new favorite thing is slamming the cabbage because he knows how to open them now. Meat is brown now, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it down and transfer the meat to a plate until we are ready for it. Okay, so I have removed the sausage. Now I'm going to add butter. No, I did not clean out the pot because we're going to want those flavors into our stuffing. Now, if you are a vegetarian or you do not eat sausage, you do not have to use sausage. You can substitute this for turkey sausage, beef sausage, if pork sausage is not your thing. But we eat sausage in this house, so we use the regular sausage. And it is the breakfast sausage that I am speaking of, as far as like the sage sausage, the roll sausage. You typically will find it where you find your bacon or your lunch meats and hot dogs. So I'm letting this butter melt down. I did a whole stick of butter. Again, we use plant butter. You can use regular butter if that is what your household uses. Once this gets melted down, I have a celery stalk, and I took all of those green pieces. Initially, when we did the turkey, I had a whole thing of celery, so we used the same celery that we use for the turkey. That way you're not wasting. So you're gonna take those green bits that are in the middle of the celery stalk. That's what you want for your stuffing, and then an actual stalk of celery with those green leafy pieces. And I also have a diced onion. We're gonna put that in with the butter. And again, I wanna get all those leafy pieces. Since I did my turkey yesterday, I went ahead and cut the vegetables for this, so that way I had less prep to do. And just like we did the turkey, I'm going to show you how to prep everything. It is not going in the oven today. It will be going into my refrigerator, and it will be ready to just go in the oven when it's time for us to have our Christmas dinner. So I've got those vegetables coated in the butter that has been melted. And I'm gonna crank this heat back up because I want these vegetables to go ahead and get soft. So we are going to let that ride for a little bit, and then we will be back to finish. Okay, we are back. These have been cooking for about 5 to 7 minutes. They are starting to get soft. You want them really soft since it is going into your stuffing. Nobody likes super big chunks in hard stuffing. So I like to get these really, really soft. And while those are getting soft, I am going to go ahead and put my sausage back in so the vegetables get that flavor. Again, if you don't want to do the sausage, you can skip that part entirely and just use your celery and onion and the stuffing to adjust your recipe accordingly. And I did lay that on a paper towel so that way the sausage could drain so it's not super greasy. Sausage. I did originally say we were going to use 1 stick of butter, but I do know how this is supposed to look, and I need a little bit more butter to coat my stuffing mix. So I am going to go ahead and add another stick and let that get melted down before we put our breadcrumbs in. Sausage is going, the butter is melting down, and it smells amazing. If you are making this with me, you should start to smell that aroma as well. It smells like the holidays. There are some people that do not use store-bought breadcrumbs for their stuffing. Kudos to you. I'm not going through the trouble of cubing up bread and baking it and doing all of that. I've just found that this is so much easier and saves so much time. There is some liquid in there, as you can see. That butter has melted. Don't worry about it looking like this because, again, when we put all of these crumbs in here, it's going to soak it right up. I'm going to drop this down to low. And then we're going to start adding our breadcrumbs in. I I am using the peppered farm herb season cube stuffing, and then I also have a bag of the classic. I like to mix it because I like some cubes and then some of the fine. It just gives the perfect texture to me. If you're somebody that does not like the cube stuffing, don't do it that way. Do 2 bags of the classic stuffing. Or if you don't like the classic stuffing, do 2 bags of the cube. It's really up to you. I did about half of the bag, and I'm going to put that. And you see those crumbs are soaking up that butter. Now you can see why I use the big pot. And this is the classic one. About half of that in. Give that a stir. One ingredient that I did forget to showcase in the beginning of the video is your quart of chicken broth. I did put it in the caption so you do know that you need it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that from my pantry. We're going to put about half of it in before we add the other crumbs. Did go ahead and put half of the chicken broth in. And you want all of your crumbs to be moist. Some people don't like that word, sorry, but that is what you want. Add in the rest of those crumbs. Again, this is why we use the big pot, so we have plenty of room for the stuffing to move around. And for the third time, this is a 6-quart pot. It's actually a Rachel Ray 6-quart Dutch oven pot, so it can actually go in the oven too. Pretty awesome when I do like a braised roast or something like that, but I love Rachel Ray's cookware. This is one of my pots that I got a long time ago. It's lasted me probably over 10 years. So if you are in the market for some cookware, Rachel Ray is good. And I also love Green Pan. And actually, the first time I saw this recipe, now that I'm talking to you guys and going through it, I actually got this sausage stuffing recipe. The first time I saw it was Rachel Ray's sausage and mushroom stuffing. I do have a family member that is allergic to mushrooms. Then I have a husband that doesn't really like mushrooms. So I have omitted the mushrooms and done sausage. I know I said vegetarians, if you don't want to do sausage, that would be another option if you are a mushroom fan. It tastes really, really good when stuffing. Get creative, do what you want to do. But I better not dare see anybody put raisins in this. Alright, so that is gone. I'm going to put the rest of the chicken broth in. Bless you, Johnny. Okay, so all of the stuffing is wet, which is what you want. is put it in a 13 by 9 casserole dish. You can use your disposable, you can use glass, use whatever you have, but it is a 13 by 9 pan that this recipe will need. So I'm gonna get it transferred to the pan, and then we are going to put our seasonings on and wrap it up to go into the fridge. Okay, so we are going to transfer this to a 13 by 9 pan. I did spray some cooking spray so it does not stick. It shouldn't because it has butter in it. And if you will see, I have added an apron on. My husband just gave me one of my Christmas gifts, and it is an apron with my little sous chef all over it. It's the cutest thing. So we are transferring this to the pan, and all you're gonna do is mash it down. You want it to be pretty even so it cooks evenly. You guys are probably like, man, she hasn't done any seasoning yet. So with the sausage, you don't really need a ton of seasoning. If you are using something else, you may want to go ahead and do some salt and pepper, maybe a little garlic powder, sage, but I actually do wait and put my seasoning on top of the mix because with the sausage and the celery and the carrots, you really don't need a lot. So I'm going to cover this with some poultry seasoning. And some paprika. And just because I'm a little extra, I am going to put a little bit of garlic powder. We really like garlic in my house. I think I saw a meme one time that was like garlic powder doesn't go on everything. And I was like, you lying. So, we have this completely done. The only thing I'm going to do is put some foil over it. Again, this is going to be for the prep. I'm not putting it in the oven today because it's not Christmas for my family. And again, we are not wasting groceries. So I'm going to cover this and talk to you about the cook times. I will be right back. Okay, so my stuffing is completed. I have covered it. Again, mine is going into the refrigerator because we are not wasting food. It is not being cooked today. I've got this covered, but when I do cook it, I am going to uncover it. The temperature would be 350 degrees. You're gonna wanna let that cook for 30 to 45 minutes. You just want it to get a nice brown color. I hope that this helps you prepare your stuffing if you've never done a homemade stuffing. And again, we did make gravy. Some people like gravy on their stuffing, so feel free to put a little on there and see if you like it that way. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out the rest of the holiday prep series. Up next, we've got mac and cheese, bacon wrapped asparagus, candied yams, and fried corn. Like and subscribe for more content.